Hi, everyone. Welcome to Break Room. I'm Britt Ramsey, and this week I am seated next to Anya Cheng, who has a phenomenal background. I'm really excited to talk to her this week. Today, she will talk through her background going from Facebook, Instagram shopping, McDonald's, and Target. She worked behind the scenes in product. She's been a two-time TEDx speaker, which is phenomenal. It's a first on our podcast. She even has been a Northwestern professor. And she is one of the girls in Tech 40 under 40. I am so excited to talk to Anya about those transitions, the career she's built, the company she's built. It's really impressive. And we are going to dig deeper into all of this today. Thank you so much for being here, Anya.
Hello. Hi, Brittany. Thank you so much for having me. This is Anya from Taelor AI. I'm excited to share more.
I'm so excited to hear more about your career because a lot of my listeners want to know the behind the scenes. How do you make transitions? How do you build a career that is not only successful, but resilient? The first thing I want to talk to you more about is you moved from Taiwan to the US in 2007. That was right before a very tough economic recession. And you had a marketing degree. But what you've built today is way beyond that. So I want to start back at the beginning. Talk to us a little bit about when you first moved here. What was that first step? And how did you start building a career in marketing? And take us behind the scenes a little bit.
Yeah, I'm originally from Taiwan. I came to the US in 2007, went to Northwestern University. I graduated in 2008, right after Lehman Brothers went bankruptcy. So as you can imagine, the job market wasn't great at the time. I was not even able to get into campus recruiting. My only experience from Taiwan was a reporter. So unlike my classmates who worked for P&G or Unilever at the time, I had less marketing experience. So not even campus recruiting interview. So then I realized that the school has a lot of campus recruiting in the engineering schools, in the economic school. So I will wait outside the building. By the way, in 20s degree in Chicago in the winter, and I will wait outside of different schools building. As soon as their campus recruiting recruiter walk out the building, I send them my resume. I said, I know you are not hiring for marketer, but I'm sure your colleague does. I know your company is hiring this role. This is my resume. And they all say, no, I don't think that we have something for you. So in fact, ambush recruiter didn't give me any job interview. So people told me, Anya, this is not how the US work. We Americans like networking. You have to find people to know you, to refer you, and that's how you get a job. Okay, with the idea in mind, I'm going to talk to people who I know. I just arrived in the US. I didn't really know anyone. Well, that's not true. I know a lot of professors in school. They don't know me, but I know them, right? So I knock on the door of different professors' door, and then as soon as I open the door, I say, "Hey, professor, I check your LinkedIn. I know you used to work for this company, and this is my resume. They are hiring. I know you still connect with this guy on LinkedIn. Can you send my resume over?" One day, there's a professor. His name is Epic. He's a journalism professor. He said, I don't know you, Anya. I cannot refer you to anyone. But I'm hosting a panel discussion where we have amazing speakers coming, and I need 20 more students to fill out the room. Can you bring your classmates? And I said, yes. So I brought my classmates there. I sit there. One of the speakers, her name was Peggy. She worked for Vance Publishing, which is a trade publication company. They offer magazine for salon owners and farmers. My English was really bad. I really didn't know what she was talking about. But in the end, I talked to her, Peggy, nice job. This is my resume. And she said, okay, I'll connect you to our recruiter and we'll see how it goes. I got a job interview. It was a magazine company. I was a reporter, worked for media company before. They are hiring marketer. I have a master's degree in marketing. I walk out the building. They have the magazine covers on the wall with a long hole. I walk out the aisle. I thought, this is it. This is my company.
Yeah.
Few weeks went by. I follow up with a recruiter. Lauren, her name is Lauren. It's like, hey, she picked up a phone call. And she said, Anya, stop calling me. I was laid off. So the recruiter of the company was let go. She was no longer with the company. So I said, hey, Lauren, you have nothing to do. Do you want to grab a coffee? She was like, okay. So we had a coffee. It was in a Starbucks near a train station. Every 5 minutes, the train We have to stop. And in the conversation, she told me a lot about the company, who is decision maker, who is a client, who's challenger for the company, why are they hiring marketers. And she also told me a simple tip. Anya, have you heard of New York and LA? Bigger cities has more job. That's why Brittany went to New York. Bigger city has more opportunity.
Yeah.
So with that idea in mind, I went on the two cities. I've looked for friends and classmates. I stay in the living room of different people every week. I print out 2,000 Northwestern University alumni, and I cold calling each one of them. Turn out that a lot of them talked to me for coffee. And one day when I talked to a alumni, again, the alumni say, we are not hiring, we are laying off people. I walk out the building, it starts snowing, and my feet step on the snow. You know, in New York, the snow is not white, it's black, like black syrup. And so my feet I was so tired and so hungry with my high heels on, and it started raining. I thought, okay, even the God told me to stop. And I was waiting, I was zipping between newsstand to newsstand, trying to avoid the rain, waiting for the break in the cloud and waiting for the red light turn green. I noticed that a lot of the newsstands sell newspapers at the time. And all of the newspaper, you wrote down the name, say publisher name, Brittany, and if you want advertising, call this number. So I thought, perfect. They got me a number and a name. So I bought all the newspaper and I start calling them. I turned out met with New York Times CEO, CNN or VP, and VP of NBC, all the major media company. But none of them were hiring. So I thought this is working, but this is too slow. I need to go somewhere where there will be plenty of people who I can meet in one day, not like three, five per day. I need to meet 30 people a day. Conference. So I went to a conference, but the ticket was so expensive, few $1,000s. So I called a magazine company back in Taiwan. I said, would you like me to cover this amazing conference in New York for free? They said, yes. I called the conference. Hi, I'm a reporter from Taiwan. Can I have a press ticket? So I got into the conference. I met hundreds of people and did the same thing in LA for another month, but nobody was hiring. I went back to Chicago. I was ready to go home back to Taiwan. But before I left, I realized I learned a lot during the process. So I emailed Peggy, the Farmers Magazine company CEO. I asked her, would you like to know what your competitors are doing? She said yes. So before I went to the store to interview salon owner. I opened a magazine. I called their advertiser. I interviewed them. I put together a business plan. I told her, if you want to do this, which is what CNN is doing, based on what your former employee, the recruiter, will told me, and your employee and your advisors to advertisers to told me, I think you should do these few things. So my English was really bad at the time. She only asked me one question. She said, okay, would you like to be a contractor? My English was really bad. I didn't know what contractor means. I said, yes. I went home and I Googled contractor, and I didn't know why she want me to be a plumber. Contractor. That's how I found everything's a plumber. So anyway, I got the job as a contractor, and it started my career, worked for Sears and Target, McDonald's, a senior director, head of product at eBay, and working for Meta, launching Facebook, Instagram shopping. And fast forward, now I'm leading Taelor AI, an AI styling clothing rental company.
I mean, what an incredible journey. And I think underlying what I'm listening to is this creative resilience, right? You can be very creative in a career, and you can be resilient, but you combine that because you not only didn't give up, which is that resilience and that desire to keep moving with action through a really tough time, but you also paired that with being very creative and thinking outside the box. A lot of people think, well, I don't see that role on LinkedIn, or that isn't a role right now, so it doesn't exist. And what you did was you created something for yourself, which is so inspiring. Talk to us a little bit about, so again, like you said, you worked in product at Target, Facebook, eBay, McDonald's, wildly different industries. A lot of professionals struggle to jump from different industries, whether it's tech, fashion, CPG. A lot of people put themselves in a specific bucket for that. What do you think was the common thread that helped you really kind of transition to each of them that are so different?
Yeah, that's a great question. And before I answer that, I want to tap on one more thing on the previous story. A lot of people ask me like, what keep you not giving up? You're resilient. How did you do it? And looking back, I think I was just using my strengths, which is going to be different from your strengths. But my only experience at the time was a reporter. So when I work way outside the building and give them someone my resume, the same thing I gave them someone my microphone before. When I went to the conference, I covered the story of the conference. That was my job before. When I bought a newspaper and I call those publisher and tell them that I would like to interviewing them, that was my job before. So I think when you are thinking of something that you are good at, then you are not afraid. And when you're
Mhm.
not afraid, you're willing to try again and again and again. And that's going to be eventually lead you to succeed because practicing failure is basically practicing to be succeed. So I'm sure your way will be different. Ambush recruiter wasn't a good idea, but by doing so, it allowed you to keep going instead of giving up because you know that you are doing something that you are good at and you have the courageous to do so. But answer the question like how do you transition? I think it's always doing something that half that you are really good at and the half is what you are learning. For example, when I worked for the media company, the Salon and Farmers Owners magazine, I was doing media selling. So I put together a program and helping our sales guy to sell media placement and sell advertising service such as okay, we can help you to build a micro website. We'll send e-newsletter for you. So then when I joined Sears, I bring my experience of media buying. But at Sears, media buying was all about big data, using data to segmenting millions of a customer and personalizing everything. So I bring media buying experience, but I learned the big data experience. When I joined the product team from the marketing team, the product team say, hey, Anya, you do personalizing advertising for everyone. I want to personalize our website so that everyone see different thing. So again, I know personalization, but I didn't know how to be a product manager. So then I joined them and Target reached out to me, say, Anya, you are a product manager for Sears. Why don't you come in and be the product manager's boss and leading the product team? Okay. I know product management, but I didn't know how to be a leader, how to lead a team. And that was my first time. And when I from Target choose eBay, eBay say, hey, to McDonald, McDonald say, hey, this is great, but Target, you know how to lead a product team, but you haven't done something that is for a global company. So why don't you bring your product team leadership experience, but this time you can lead global. So half know, half is new. And then
Mhm.
from there to eBay, it was the first time I became leader for a tech company, but I already have experience in covering the industries globally in McDonald's, including Latin America and Africa, which is what eBay was looking for. And then going to Meta, I was there launching e-commerce, which I have background in, but I never actually done it for the first tier tech company, and that was my first time. If you are looking for a job that is entirely new, as a recruiter bringing you know, why will I hire you? But if you are looking for a job that's exactly the same as your old job, why would you apply for the job? Right? So it
Yeah.
has to be half that you know and half is learning.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a good takeaway for listeners, that 50-50 of your strengths and learning opportunity. I love that. I'm curious, I want to hear maybe during that time when you were, again, making these leaps and transitioning into not only new industries, new companies, new roles, a lot of new people, and a lot of new systems to learn. All of that's to stay. I would love to hear like what was one of the biggest challenges for you? Maybe it was personal. I would love to hear behind the scenes because on the outside, again, looks easy and strong, but I'm sure there was moments that were challenging during that time. And so what were one of the biggest challenges during all those transitions?
I think that the transition is never easy and it's not for everyone because every time you are pushing yourself out of comfort zone means that you learn something new, you build additional portfolio on resume, but also means you are getting out of your connections, you are learning more about the culture, you are taking a risk. Some job worked, some job didn't work. Looking back to my career, some of my transition was a mistake, while some transition was the best time of my life. but you didn't really know. So I would say that it's important to know that you are coming and taking some risk, and risk means there's a potential reward, and you have to evaluate at your career, is that the right time to do so? We have people who work at eBay for the entire life. They know that they work well in the company and they earn a lot of money there, but they also know that it's going to be hard for them to work for like much more fast moving companies who have very much more aggressive culture. But that's what they have decided. So I think it's just knowing that there's no good or bad, even though if you're not moving, this is a trade-off that, hey, this allow me to extra time with my family. This allow me to do something that I love as a hobby. This allow me to cooking and thinking of my entrepreneurship idea. So nothing is good or bad. It's just a trade-off.
Yeah. Kind of different seasons for different parts of your life, that there's different roles and opportunities to make space for that. I want to obviously dig into, you've become a founder and build a very successful business, which I want to dig into. But I want to talk about the beginning of that, right? So you spent many years as a senior operator, as a leader, reporting into larger organizations. It's a massive shift to go from that operator in a organization with teams and resources, and then starting as a founder and building from zero into what you've built today, which is, again, a very successful AI styling company online. And I want to dig deeper into this, but you even got backed by investors that invested in NVIDIA and TikTok and Spotify. So I want to go back to that beginning of you building something. What made you first take that step into building your own organization? And then I want to talk through how you built it from there.
Yeah, so how I decide, I think it's one thing to think about working for a big company and different from launching your own startup or working for a startup, is that on the one hand, launching a startup is not a few year things. It's much longer, 3, 5, 7, 10 years thing. So you got to really have an idea that you are really passionate about. And the same thing working for startup is that if you're looking back for your career, there were up and lows, like up and downs. They are high and low. They are stuff that you love and so happy, the stuff that you were really sad and disappointed, and all of those feelings is for the last 10 years you are going to experience similar level within 10 months. It's the roller coaster life. So there's no good or bad, but are you ready for that? And is that excitement and rewarding, is that enough for you? How did I start? When I was working for Meta and eBay, being a female leader as an immigrant who didn't come from technology background, I'm a marketer, but I led large engineering technology team. I feel imposter syndrome. I'm not sure people feel like I am good enough to qualify for being their leader. I know that's not true, but I feel that. So I want to
Mhm.
dress up so that no one know that I'm freaking out every day. I look like the part. So I look for some option like Stitch Fix, which they style you. But once they style you, you have to decide to buy from every single shipment. And I didn't like the commitment. I have to think about how many times can I wear these clothes? Can I find somewhere cheaper? How do I do the laundry and ironing and outfitting? I feel that's a lot of work. So I start renting. I rent from company like Newly by Urban Outfitter, Rent the Runway, or more. Those are amazing rental company with a couple million, $100 million revenue. But all of this require me to pick. Hey, this is 100,000 garments, spend 2 hours picking. And
Yep.
I don't have sense of fashion. I don't know how to pick. I don't know how to pair. And I hate the experience of shopping. So it was a aha moment that I realized fashion company has designed for people who are into fashion, not for people like me who just want to get ready for the day and be successful. So I start doing research. Who else think like me? Practical, hate shopping, hate laundry, socially active, want to get a job, get a date, and close a deal, and understand their first impression matter, but don't want to read GQ. Turn out they are busy men. So then we start a menswear rental company with AI styling. So people pay a monthly fee, our AI style them. We send them real clothes to rent. After renting, they provide feedback, and then we make this feedback AI again and help fashion brand to predict what's going to sell. So then there will be less future inventory and then better for the environment. So then they don't have to burn down those inventories.
This is beyond genius, and you took a a big gap. That's it. I agree so much. I rent as well, and the energy it takes to pick out pieces. I don't know what I'm picking out, and I'm overwhelmed. And then close my phone, and then all the stuff is gone that was in my cart anyway. So I'm like, and then I have to start over. It's really amazing. I want to ask, why then did you lean into the male side versus the female side of building that company for rental, since you yourself were using, like you said, the rental on the female side? Curious about the male.
Yeah, on the one hand, is our mission is really to help the industry problem. Today, 40% of clothes in the world are unsold. 30% of clothes in the world goes to landfill and generating 8% of carbon emissions. So it's a lot of big industry problems. A host like when I was working for Sears, Target, wholesale buyer, they don't know what to buy. Fashion designer are designing something 2 years down the road in the future. How do you know what's going to be trendy by the time? So serving a male customer, which allow us to offer AI styling, because even more than women, men doesn't want to pick. So by offering the AI styling, by offering the human stylist for them, by offering the rental, this means they always give us feedback. The feedback like, oh, the sleeve is too long, here is a little itchy, the belly is too tight. And all those feedback allow the fashion brand, designer, wholesalers, and buyer to know what's the real problem of their clothes. So then no one can stop, people can stop producing junk, and they know what's the next collection will be better. And then in addition, this also allow us to be a data company, which we truly believe in the era of AI. If you are looking for a job and plenty of AI company are out there, you ask them one question. You ask them, what's your mode in the AI era? And you ask them, do you have proprietary data? Because AI is growing with data. So if you don't have proprietary data, then it's hard to compete with other companies. So then, and these allow us to have proprietary data. We know this clothes after wash 3 times, the second button fall off. In the past, nobody have this information. Once you buy something from Amazon, we don't know if you even wear it. What happened after you wear it? What's the detail? Oh, too big. What's too big? Sleeve too big? Chase too big, 1 inch too big for whom? For what kind of people? For after
Mhm.
washing how many times? After shrinking still too big? After washing it became loose, that's why too big? Fashion brand and retail don't have this information, and that's why there were so many inventory.
Wow, that is so amazing. One, from a sustainability standpoint, I mean, like you said, the waste that is happening across the globe, and you are trying to solve for that. So that's amazing. The second piece is, I think it's a real takeaway for professionals here as they're looking to build their career. A place where that data is proprietary can really kind of set them up also for success, knowing that, versus some people can take risk into startups and then realize that that job is gone in 6 months. So it's a really good takeaway for professionals to know that. I could talk so long about your company is again astounding. And on top of your company, you've also been a professor. And what I really want to hear is a little bit more about that path then. So you went into teaching as well. Talk a little bit about that journey and what made you go down that path of, working with Northwestern.
Yeah, being the student who was underdog and eventually build my career. So giving back to a community is always really close to my heart. I came from blue collar family. My dad is a factory worker. My mom is a housewife. So when I got into a Northwestern University, my English was really, really bad. I remember one time they sent me an email, and how I read the email was saying that there's something urgent. Please call Jennifer at this number. And I thought, yeah, I know, must be a mistake. The mission gave it to the wrong person. That's why I got the mission. So I was back in Taiwan. I didn't thought about it was midnight in the US. I pick up the phone call. I call Jennifer, who was the mission office assistant. And somehow it was middle of the night in Chicago. But poor Jennifer actually left her real phone number. So then she picked up the phone call in the middle of the night. My English was so bad and I was nervous. So I couldn't even say, are you Jennifer? I say, You do, Jennifer? Imagine you call someone in the middle of the night, ask them, you do, Jennifer? You do, Jennifer? So then I turn around and give it later to some other people and who are really good in English. They say, Anya, this is just a canned message. You say, if there's something urgent, don't be hesitate to reach out, which that means never call us. Never.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I think that the school like unleashed my potential. And when I graduated, there was no alumni club of Taiwan alumni. So I co-calling all of the. So I found that there's a one kind of person they put all of their email and their education on the internet. They are professors. So I call all of the professors, look at all of the professor profile in Taiwan, all of the university, see who graduated from Northwestern University. I call all of them, ask them to join alumni club. But fast forward, just in general, the community really helped me. And so I stay in touch with the school. I always do get speaking the last 10 years. And 7 years ago, there was a professor passed away. So then they asked me if I want to come in and co-teaching the professor's class. And it was right at the COVID time. So they say, okay, you can teach from San Francisco. And then so I took over the role. After COVID ended, they liked the class. So they flew me back and forth to Chicago, continue teaching the class. In recent few years, I start Taelor AI and I don't have that much time anymore. So I transitioned to teaching their online executive program, which allowed me to just teach over the Zoom. But I think that this just the experience allowed me to keep in touch with the school. And I think sometimes while you keep in touch and the opportunity will be there. Just like looking for jobs, I just keep in touch with the people. And when opportunity come out, they remembered you.
Yeah. And what I love about you teaching is you're giving back to the next generation, which is a gift that is priceless. You're giving them experience, advice, but rooting it in business too, which is really important, right from all your experience. One last question as we round out this amazing conversation. I always ask for advice, that you would give your earlier self or years and years ago when you first stepped into the States. Would you have done anything different, or would you give advice to your younger self? What would that be?
I think it's going to be trusting yourself. I know it sounds easy, but it's harder to do. When I started my company, so I will already have 15 years career in Meta, eBay, Target, McDonald's. But being a startup founder, almost everybody say, oh, you're a startup founder. Let me give you some advice. Okay, you're a startup founder. Let me mentor you. And you start realizing, okay, maybe I really don't know anything. So the story was when I started, we went on a startup competition. So in order to win the competition, I searched online. I found formal judges of a competition and 42 of them. I practiced 43 times because one of the judges said, hey, you are not good enough. Let's practice again tomorrow. So by the time when I went on the global final, my pitch was perfect. But right after the pitch, the judges asked me questions and I was stunned. I couldn't answer anything. Wasn't because I didn't know the answer. I did. I knew the answer perfectly. But in my head, I was all thinking, wait, this question. Practice judge number 7 asked me, and I asked him what was your answer would be. And I put down his answer in appendix number 2. And the answer was, what? It's almost like a student with open book exam. He or she spent all of the time looking for the answer instead of just be present, think about the answer, and speak out loud your point of view. Of course, I lost a competition. It was $100,000 cash. And I learned and I realized that people don't want to follow a leader who memorizing script. People want to follow a leader who have points of views. And I did have points of view. I just didn't in present and I didn't try to answer that because I didn't believe that I could do it. So from there, I switched a mindset. If I am thinking these things all day long, 24/7, who else can be knowing this better than me? So from there, we won magazine best startup of the year last year, and AI's e-commerce startup of this year by ACG. Last year was American Marketing Association best campaign of the year, etc. Another 20 different award, and that's all because of mindset change.
Yeah. Thank you. That's such great advice. I think so often we're the ones that hold ourselves back and get in our head and try to think of perfect answers or perfect responses. And to your point, sometimes you just need to really trust and you know it best and go from there. So thank you so much for joining us today. I want to give you a chance to, because I'm excited to follow Taelor. I know my husband will love it. It's such a living in New York and LA. Fashion is at the forefront of how we show up and how we feel, and all around the globe as well. So can you tell listeners really quick, we will put in the show notes, but where they can find you, where they can follow Taelor along, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of growth, especially in the AI styling space.
Yeah, if you know someone who is busy, hates shopping and laundry, but has an active social life who need to meet people, go on tailor.style. That's TAELOR.STYLE, tailor.style. Use the code podcast25 to get 25% off menswear rental subscription with styling service. Or the best gift is time. So saving time and give a gift that's keep on giving. So use a code podcast gift to get 10% off gift card.
Thank you. We will again link all of that in the show notes. Anya, it was so amazing having you here. I am excited to just stay connected with you and see this company grow and again, really change the landscape of sustainability in clothing and the way we think and style about fashion. So thank you so much for being here today. Thank you all for stopping by Break Room, and make sure to follow Anya along in her journey and company's journey, Taelor Style. Thank you.
Thanks, this is Anya.